Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Crossroads. I am your host, Rashida G, and this is the podcast for and about environmental justice and those who fight the fight with skin as melanated as the days are long. Knowledge is power, and we're breaking down stereotypes one episode at a time. So for this episode, I sat down with Doniel from DNH Hair Care. We talk about her hair care line, but really for this episode, we are talking about the plant-based diet. If you all do not know, I have been a vegetarian for the last 3 years. I consider myself a baby vegan because I shouldn't and try not to eat cheese, but I still eat eggs. So Doniel is 100% vegan, and we talk about her hair care line. We also talk about what prompted her to change her diet around, which in this particular case is health. You know, we talk about why or some of the challenges associated with becoming vegan and some of her recommendations for what to do if people are looking to incorporate more vegetables into their diet. We don't really get into economics as much, and we're not really talking about this from a food waste perspective. But as you all know, if you've listened to this podcast before, we are aware of the fact that meat consumption 100% contributes to climate change with the maintenance of the animals, what happens to them when they poop. Please see the Poop Lagoon episode for a recap of that. So we don't really get into that this episode, but understand that those intersections still exist and are very important in determining, you know, whether one should or should not incorporate more vegetables into their diet. You can reduce your carbon footprint and lower your blood pressure. Everybody wins. Also, we really got into this episode hard and fast, so we did not give flowers. So I'm going to take one for the team, and I think Doniel would agree with me. The most appropriate person to give flowers to on this episode is the one and only Madam C.J. Walker. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. So today I have Doniel with me from DNH Hair Care to talk to me about not eating no meat. So I think I may have said this before, but I've been vegetarian for the last 3 years, and I have gotten some very interesting comments along the way, and I finally found some other people who've also made the transition from eating meat, and that is why Doniel is here. We're also going to get into her hair care line too. So Doniel, thank you for joining me. Girl, this has been the dark night of the soul trying to get this technology together.
It happens, but thank you for having me and glad to be here.
Thank you. So talk to me about your diet. You are a vegan, right?
Yes.
How's that going? What got you there? What happened?
Health issues. So I was raised vegetarian, and getting older, you meet your loved ones, your spouse and stuff like that, who comes from a different background, who is a definite carnivore. And me changing from vegetarian to being a carnivore kind of gave me health issues. So cholesterol, weight gain, migraines were never something that I had experienced before, and realized that, because of the lifestyle change, I had issues that I needed to now figure out how to deal with. So because adding meat to my diet gave me those issues, my source, or the reason was I had to take care of my diet and remove the meat. So once I did that, there were still products that I was still consuming that still had like a meat base. Like my favorite, marshmallows. I love marshmallows, but I didn't realize that marshmallows had pork.
Horse hooves.
So with that, I trying to find another alternative, and then I came across Trader Joe's, who has kosher marshmallows. So there's no they have ones that have fish gelatin, and then they have ones that are pork gelatin, but then they have these other ones. They're not quite marshmallows, but they are totally vegan that you can actually eat.
Oh, yeah. That was something I found out too on my journey, that marshmallows have gelatin in them. and that I
Yeah,
couldn't eat them
it's
anymore.
surprising, from lipstick to toothpaste. There's a lot of different things that we consume and use on a daily basis that are either animal byproducts or straight animal products. I see a lot of times people use honey, but honey is an animal byproduct. So for me being vegan, it's best for me to kind of like prepare certain things at home versus buying out. Now you can eat, being vegan outside restaurants and so forth and so on. But the thing is, if you're buying stuff at the market or fast food places, you need to know that you are definitely, exposed to a lot of the preservatives. So you have your
Carcinogens,
pros,
yeah.
yes, you have your pros and you have your cons to being vegan.
What on your journey, what what are the questions that you are tired of people asking you?
Um, I guess the one main question is I get people that ask me, well, you're a nurse, and I heard that, vegans, I guess, don't live longer than people that consume meat. That
Yeah.
is a question that I get a lot, and it's some of it's true, some of it's not true. So some people who do not really educate themselves on the body systems, how the body works, how to maintain the body, those vegans that die early in their 40s and 50s were lacking amino acids. So amino acids are, I
Mm.
mean, huge in a vegan diet because you do not, consume certain products that would be full of amino acids, and that would be flesh. So if you're not
Right.
eating flesh, you have to replace those amino acids. So that's one of the biggest questions that I get about, vegans dying before people that, consume meat.
Yeah, my friend sent me sent me that article like, look at this, the vegans dying. And I'm like, and so kind of to follow up with that, what are some of the replacements or supplements that people can eat to get those aminos back? Cuz like, amino acids are basically like the building blocks of our DNA. So it's got your basic like carbon, nitrogen. So what are some of the things that you can eat to get those back?
For me, I just buy your amino acids because you can definitely just to make
Yeah,
it
you
quick,
can. The liquid
easy, and
aminos. Yeah.
simple. You buy it in a jar. Um, you add like a tablespoon of it to your smoothie or whatever it is that you're going to consume in the morning. Do another one at night or whatever. And you get your amino acids that way. That way, it's not complicated. You don't have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money, on these other things to try to get the amino acids in. It already comes already prepared in a jar.
And those are sold in, I think they're like in the healthier aisle if you all have Giant. Like I think there's like a jar of liquid aminos and you can just
Exactly.
buy it.
Wegmans, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, all of those.
So like what are some of the misconceptions about being vegan? Like what are some things that in addition to the questions that you get, what are some of the assumptions people make about you or about being vegan that they say to you out loud?
I guess sometimes, when people see me in person, they say, "Oh, you're not super skinny." I'm like, okay, so what do you think? Vegans don't
Yeah.
eat? We eat just like everybody else eats. We actually eat a little bit more than the regular person. But it's really about what
Yeah.
you eat as a vegan. So I have a sweet tooth. So
Me
stuff like
too.
agave, raw sugar are my best friends. And me being vegan, because of that sweet tooth, I am not the skinny vegan that people are, looking for. When you mention vegan, that's what they think. You're going to show up looking like olive oil and you just going to be like real thin. And that's not the case.
Right.
I'm one of the thicker words. So I like being,
Ooh.
exactly who I am. Curves and all, child.
So the thing that I hear the most from people is, first of all, getting being I'm just a vegetarian, but getting being vegetarian confused with being vegan, or asking me or offering me shellfish. That's a common thing that
Okay.
friends not all my friends, but some of my friends and most of my family do on a regular basis. And then scoffing when I say I don't eat seafood, that's meat. And they're like, oh, well, shit, then what can you do? I get a lot of that, which is really annoying. Super duper annoying. So like,
and that does come up. But you know what? You eat what you eat, and they eat what they eat. You know what I mean? And I think it's wrong for certain people to scoff when it comes to those types of situations. You know what I mean? Because that old saying comes into play. What I eat ain't gonna make you. You know what I'm saying?
Shit.
So
yeah.
And I just leave it at that. Sometimes you can just walk away from the situation, but what I eat is not gonna make you blank. So just keep it moving.
And so, as a nurse, and obviously being very instrumental in the hospital and working with in patient care, how can Black people benefit from a plant-based diet?
Wow. I think if a lot more of the African American people would adopt a plant-based diet, we could eradicate type 2 diabetes. We could eradicate high cholesterol. We could eradicate migraine suffering. We could eradicate some of the cancers, colon cancer, stomach cancer. A lot of the cancers that a lot of us are, dying from, plant-based diets could actually reverse those illnesses. I've seen it reversed, actually in my case, with my diabetes, I had to reverse that because I didn't have diabetes growing up. I didn't know what diabetes was until I was actually, in nursing school and then diagnosed with it. So for me, it was a total shock. But even though I know I still love sugar, but being in that type of situation where I just really was eating the tasty cakes and the this and the that and so forth and so on, and eating so much of the processed stuff, it just really woke me up to saying, you know what, this isn't what your life was like before then. Why would you settle for a lifestyle like this now? And I had to really just be like, you know what, this is not for me. Okay, been there. I'm not doing this. So I'm going back to, the lifestyle I had before and being healthy. So I don't have to take any insulin. I'm not on metformin, Atlantis, or anything like that.
Wow.
Now, you look at my medical chart, there hasn't been a trace of diabetes in the past 5 years.
Wow. And that's common. Yes. That's a common thing that I've noticed of folks who change their diet around and go vegan, is that they're able to, completely reverse any of their adverse health effects. Exactly. So another question that I wanted to ask you is, why do you think us as Black folks have such a hard time transitioning away from meat? Why do you think it's where there's so much pushback? And I don't think this is exclusive to us, but what I definitely get more pushback from Black folks than anybody else.
I think it's tradition. It's what we've been indoctrinated in for years. So if you go back to even slavery times, okay, yeah, it would have been cheaper for the slave master just to let us be out there in the field to eat corn husks and anything that just, green growing up out of the grass. It was free. It cost them to have to buy hogs and stuff like that they ate and gave us the leftovers. So I think it's really tradition, because this is what we were raised on, our ancestors were raised on, and it's just been passed down from generation to generation to generation. Even when it comes into quote unquote traditional holidays like New Year's, you gotta have your pig's feet or your hog maws,
black eyed peas and collard greens.
And it's not really necessary. So if we can get away from some of the traditionalism and really go back to what we ate a long time before that, because we weren't originally carnivore. We just weren't. We were all plant-based. You know what I mean? That's how we were. Adam and Eve were plant-based. I mean, from the beginning. But over time, this is the diet that we've adopted. We've listened to, USDA ads that come out and say, pork, the other white meat. And of course, in our
Right.
brains, white meat is the best meat. You know what I mean? So it all just ties
Ooh,
into
yes.
traditionalism, and it's just not healthy for us. The people that run around here now with high cholesterol, your cholesterol is high because of meat consumption. That's the only way you get high cholesterol is from meat consumption. You can't get cholesterol from plant
Right.
based.
So, what is so I know like there seems to be this huge craze now where people everything from even KFC now has some form of quote unquote meatless options. Now we did touch on a little bit that, if someone wants to have a plant-based or like strictly vegetarian or vegan diet, that going to these places is not a good idea because there's still the opportunity for contamination. The other side of that, too, though, seems to be the increase in soy based products as replacements for meat. What is your opinion about that? And like, what, for as a nurse, what is your perspective about that soy based products as also causing risks to our health?
As far as the fast food thing, if that's what you have to do, I mean, absolutely your last resort, then you do what you gotta do. For me, I have tried the Impossible Burger. I didn't have the bun,
Me
but I
too.
did have the patty and
Ooh,
the lettuce. And
it
of
was
course, yeah, it
good.
was processed. And not too long after that, I got a headache for some reason, but I only tie it back to that. So I had it again the second time,
Mm-hmm.
and about 10-15 minutes later, I got another headache. So I said, well, you know what? I know
Yeah.
that this isn't for me. So even with soy-based products and stuff, I don't give my sons soy because I know, I guess in my family, I have two cousins who developed gynecomastia, which is male breast,
Oh,
due
yes.
to high
Mm-hmm.
soy consumption. So I don't even give
Right.
soy to, my boys, but I know that soy sometimes for some people can be a migraine trigger. Um, and I kind of, it's a balance. It's a balance. If soy is fine with you and your system works well with it, then guess what? If it's not broke, then don't fix it. But for some of us that do have that soy sensitivity or intolerance, I stay away from it, and I can go into like almond milks or almond based products. We got tempeh. We have a whole bunch of different other things, seitan, that we can consume, mushrooms, and I hate mushrooms. I hate them.
I
But
love
they're prepared
mushrooms.
properly. My burgers and stuff like that are all mushroom. You know what I mean? You can add in other
Mm-hmm.
vegetables, but yeah, with soy, I do kind of try to stay away from it.
Yeah, I've definitely, I gave myself when I transitioned away from meat, I gave myself a year to kind of get myself together, and that included like getting ready for the meals, but also, dealing with the social aspect of it, family gatherings and things like that, because I wouldn't be able to participate in those things. But I did eat some of those like meat alternative things just on those days where I was like, man, I really would love a burger, or I would love some shrimp, but I know I can't eat any, so let me just get these fake crab bites or whatever and eat those.
The fake shrimp, I've had the, like I said, the Impossible Burger. I've had black bean burgers. I've had
Mm-hmm.
mushroom burgers. What else? I've had the barbecue jackfruit. You name it, I will try it as
I
long
haven't
as
had
it's vegan, even though I
jackfruit.
know some of it is processed. But I know that you can't knock it until you try it. You know what I mean? As long as it's not animal based, it doesn't have any type of animal, byproduct or whatever in it, then of course, yeah, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. I'm like, I'm just gonna give this a shot. What can hurt me? If just by just giving it a shot.
Girl, listen, wait till you get to try the tofurkey.
I haven't had tofurkey.
You haven't had the tofurkey?
No. No. I just never tried it.
It is a soy-based product, but I
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody, if you're going vegan, vegetarian, you're not a real vegan or vegetarian until you try the tofurkey. It's funny, but just a little bit of it, you know what I mean? You'll get to understand, I guess, what people that are not vegetarian or not vegan feel like when you give them one of our dishes.
You
Yes.
know, it's funny you say that because this Thanksgiving I roasted a cabbage, which I could never say with a straight face because
Okay.
I knew how it sounded, and but it takes time, and when you actually, believe it or not, when you slice it, it low key from the side looks like a turkey.
Right, right.
And it was good, and I've done it again, you know, just to try to keep experimenting and figuring out how I like it and how it should be seasoned. And it takes a long time. You got to roast it for like an hour. It's like, good lord, it's just a cabbage, you know. But I haven't quite gotten to tofurkey yet. Oh, I'll have to try it. So, getting into your hair care line. Talk to me about your hair care line. And like, did your diet influence you to start it? Like, how did it come about?
Yes, diet definitely influenced it because we do have some products on the market, very popular. You know, this one swears by this one, that one swears by that one. This one's making your curl pop, but a lot of times people don't stop to think that the stuff that you are putting on your skin is being absorbed into your bloodstream. So, our skin is the
Mm.
largest organ that we have.
On our
And
bodies.
I've
Yes.
had some of my friends, who are vegan come to me or vegetarian and say, "Girl, I tried this brand's particular new curl spray and it's a refresher." And I'm like, turn it around. And I see this honey listed on it. So I said, "So how can you be vegan using a byproduct?" You know what I mean? And she's like, "Oh, I didn't realize
Right.
it had, Manuka honey." And I'm like, they will give you all types of Caribbean honey and Manuka honey and this one's honey, but honey is honey. You know what I mean? It doesn't where it came from. It doesn't matter where it came from or what bee or what country, city, town. Honey is honey. And I needed to develop a product that was the alternative that still give you the results that you wanted, but without using animal byproduct. So I'm using raw sugar. I'm using agave. I'm using stevia. I'm using the entire cantaloupe melon from the rind all the way to the life-giving seeds on the
Ooh.
inside. The same thing when it comes to the mango. People will throw away the mango seed, but that seed is what gave it life. You got a mango that came from
Right.
a seed. So there's life in the
Right.
seeds of your fruits, your vegetables, and your plants. Even when it comes to my strawberries, I eat the stem and all because it contains chlorophyll. I'm getting all of the nutrient and vitamins that I possibly can consume when I'm eating, my fruit. So I want the same for my hair. I want the same for my skin. I want the same for my internal organs. So I'm not going to block my
Right.
pores, from receiving stuff that is beneficial for me. So me looking at products that are on the market today, they're doing exactly that. But, sometimes our people don't read, or it just comes on the other hand where our people don't care. It's just about what's popular.
Right. You know, and just like a really quick word about what you said about seeds. I know that you're aware that there's a very popular craze for seedless fruits. That a lot of the fruits that we're
Right.
seeing now in the stores don't have seeds. And one of the main places that started was with watermelon. And like all
Exactly.
seeds have everything that it takes to make that fruit. Like the fruit is just the protection for the seed. And
Uh-huh.
so like the seed has just as much if not more health benefits than the actual fruit itself. And it's amazing to me how people will say, "Oh, I just throw the seeds away." And it's like, "No, you should grind them up and sprinkle them on your salad, or just swallow them, whatever it is, because that actually
Exactly.
it benefits you. And it's just very, very interesting how we've kind of made
Exactly.
ourselves believe that we don't need to use everything. And I just wanted to call that up. So with your hair care line, talk to me about some of the most popular products, and like what prompted you to make the line, and what are definitely some of the products that you're the most proud of, or the most popular ones?
Prompted me again. It was lifestyle and friends and family who didn't have the opportunity to find something that would go along with a vegan lifestyle. So that
Right.
our line really, connects to that need in that community. So our most popular is the Renew oil, and our Renew oil is, well, it has been the bestseller for the past 4 years. But the conditioner and the shampoo are another bestseller because of the enzymes that come in with us grinding and using the seeds in our products. With the Renew
Mm-hmm.
oil, a lot of people are using it for braids, weaves, for hair growth. We have seen this, slogan, no edges left behind. Well, I have a lot of people that approach me that are suffering with lupus, alopecia,
Mm.
and have had traction alopecia, scarring alopecia. There's, different types of alopecia. But the Renew oil
Yeah.
has given them a renewed sense of hope because the product can help bring that hair back. So, but again, I don't like to leave seeds out. Seeds are the main ingredient of a lot of our products. The seed is what gives life. Even us humans came from, semen, from seed in the semen. You know what I mean?
Ew.
So
Just kidding.
well,
Yeah,
it's
you're
the
right.
truth. You know what I'm saying?
It's the
Look, we
truth.
all came from seeds. Seeds is
We
what
did. You're
gives
right.
life. I just put it as that's
Right.
where you get life, because without seeds, we could not regrow vegetables, fruits, any of that. No more plants. So we need those seeds
Mm-hmm.
to be able to replenish what we just consumed. So in the products, I look at
Right.
it the same way. I'm eating for my hair, and we our slogan is feed your hair like you feed your body. So of course for us it
Mm.
is a main ingredient that we use wholesome organic products, and that's where we got our name from, DNH Organic Hair Care. And it's really about, being a sustainable company. And I'm very proud of the line. It works great. I use it on myself. We've got a lot of ambassadors out there on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter that are, using the product and really seeing the results. And that's what we're happy about. I'm not trying to be popular, really. I just
Right.
want to make sure that the people are getting what they need, making sure that the products that you're spending your money on is benefiting you, and not just,
Right.
being sat on a counter somewhere just because it's a brand name, a popular name, but you're not getting any benefit out of it.
Right. And going back to what you said about being a sustainable company, part of that is being the opposite of being extractive, where you're taking from the earth and not replenishing it. And you are, by using the seeds, by using every single part of the plant, you're eliminating food waste, you're reducing your carbon footprint. And that's part and parcel with sustainability. And that's so admirable that that's what you're doing.
Yes.
What are some of the in the course of time that you've had your line out on the public? What are some moments that make you the most proud?
I think customer feedback. When we get an email or a text message just stating, can I send you pictures of my son? I'm like, okay, send the pictures in. And they said, this was my son, 2 months ago when I met you. Now look at my son, and his hair is looking great. No more cradle cap.
Mm.
I'm happy. Or I get the alopecia patient. I have one she has what they call cap alopecia. So where you would put a baseball cap on your head, that entire
Mm-hmm.
ring that goes around your head, that's where her
Oh,
alopecia is.
yeah.
And it's a
Oh,
really like
wow.
4 inches wide for this particular patient. We've actually posted pictures on Instagram for her progress with
I've
using DNH.
seen.
But I
Yeah.
made, just a fresh batch every time she called. Okay, we're making your products. Everything is micro batch, so we don't mass produce our products. Normally, we make a lot of our stuff just made to order. Um, so we can kind of gauge how many sales we're going to get per day, and we'll make those batches as it comes in. But her cap alopecia has actually just all grown in, where she was, being told, well, we're going to give you
That's
some
awesome.
cortisone shots in your scalp. We need you to use this topical alcohol based product. You know what I mean? And she didn't want to have to do all of that. So with, us
Right.
educating her and telling her about her skin, about her condition, why alopecia occurs, what you need to do to reverse alopecia in some, cases, she was very happy with it. Now she's got a head full of hair, and
Oh, that's
all,
amazing.
thanks to her following instructions and a rigorous program, she has her hair back without having to use chemicals, you know what I mean, without having to consume something that's going to damage her liver or her kidneys just to get hair.
Yeah, because that's that's something else I want to ask you, because there's also this craze for these hair supplements or skin supplements, and I don't even know, I don't even know if even if they are specified as being vegan or vegetarian friendly, if they're still okay. But it's just there seems to be a lot of that on the market, and I don't know that we're also taking into account how those products, while they may be growing your hair, maybe, but that they're also causing other adverse health risks. Are you familiar with any of those in your research, or in
I
your, just like in
I
your
am.
work?
I am. I've seen, again, certain popular, brand products. I don't even know if we can say names. Can we say names? I mean, not that I want to give them a shout out or
That
anything, but there are a
is
couple
probably
of
what, Shea Moisture, because the Manuka honey is Shea Moisture, and I was like, ooh, Lord, I have that right now.
right. But there are a
I do. I
couple
was like,
of
oh, I feel seen.
pink labeled products for the hair that state that, it's going to grow your hair, like through infinity and beyond, I
To
should
your
say.
butt. Yeah.
Exactly. But those capsules that they're using, where are the capsules coming from? They're not going to tell you what the capsule is made of. You know what I mean? And then the products that they're putting in
Right.
the cap. What company is making this? Is this
Right.
made at a company that is, nut free? Are you using,
Mm-hmm.
dairy or soy or anything in this company that is producing these capsules? And the FDA really doesn't control this stuff. So you and I right
Yep.
now can go right into our medicine closet, and we can crush up some Excedrin along with some juniper berry, maybe a little bit of elderberry, and some oregano. And we can cap it up
Oh.
in, animal made products or capsules, and we can market it ourselves as this fantastic hair growth capsule and make tons of money off of it. But they're lies,
What? Why don't we do? We'll talk
lies,
offline. We'll
lies,
talk offline.
lies.
We'll talk.
But
Oh.
this is why extreme marketing is a multi-billion-dollar company, because you could be lied to
Yeah.
and lied to and lied to, but the normal consumer doesn't care. If you're telling me it's going to grow my hair and I know that is my biggest problem, I'm going to buy it.
Right.
And that's what's
Yeah.
happening.
No, yeah.
People sitting up here saying, oh, it's going to grow my hair overnight. I've seen pictures on Instagram where she got the product on a Monday and came Friday, the hair was halfway down her back. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
You're like, now, girl.
People believe it. You should see
Yeah,
the comments. People
they do.
actually believed it. So it's that snake oil thing that, has been selling since the beginning of time.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't know that the first diet ad was actually like the interest for that in the first place was a British man who was having weight issues, and instead of using
Exactly.
himself, he used a woman, and we can kind of see that all the rest of that is history. It's just, and it's
Exactly.
unfortunate because, even with perming, a lot less people are perming their hair now and going natural. But
Yes.
we've even seen the adverse effects of that. Like Chris Rock did a whole documentary, and yet
Yep.
and still people are
And
like,
people
yeah, I'll
still
just go on ahead and
are people are
sit
stiff
this stuff
necked.
on my scalp. I'm like, ooh.
And no matter what, you can see this car catch on fire, and people will still want to get in to drive that car. Just like you said with the
Mm-hmm.
documentary with Chris Rock, he's giving you all of the things that are happening with sodium hydroxide, lithium, guanidine,
Mm-hmm.
all of these chemicals causing cancer, ovarian cyst, ovarian fibroids,
Mm-hmm.
birth defects, so forth and so on. But guess what? People are still taking them. It's the same thing with birth control. They'll
Yep.
tell you right here, birth control can give you
Oh
a
Lord.
stroke. But guess what? People are still taking birth control. So, I
I
mean,
just recently, this is probably like, oh, keep going. I'm sorry.
no, it's just it's basically about education, but you gotta weigh the pros and the cons from education versus marketing, because you get some of the most educated people that are very book smart but don't have common sense.
I feel really seen. I just recently stopped taking birth control. And I mean, it's not awesome, but it's not, but it's not, I guess I feel better. It's not awesome. I'm not going to lie to you. I low key feel like I'm in hell, but it's better, I know, for my health overall to be off of birth control than it is to be on it. So I did make that transition too. It's unpleasant as hell, but it's fine. It's
But
really
that's
unpleasant
because
though.
it
Yeah.
came from education. Once you looked at the pros and
Yeah.
the cons of taking that chemical, you know what I mean, over a long period of time, it's not benefiting you at all. It's actually causing more
Yeah.
damage, or causing damage that wasn't there in the first place. You know what I mean? The same thing with our hair, with the relaxers and stuff. There was nothing wrong with our hair from the beginning. He gave it to us the way that it was
Right.
because that's the way it was supposed to be. Even I get
Mm-hmm.
people talking about, well, my hair is low porosity and my other hair is high porosity. Well, guess what? Everybody was born with normal porosity hair. It's what you've been putting on it that's
What?
changed the pH. Okay? So you wondering
Ruh-roh.
why your hair looks like this and looks like that. It's because you damaged it, but you weren't born with damaged hair.
So it's not normal to have, okay, because I like have this one patch in the, this is not for me to talk to you about my own hair problems, but while we're here though, I do have a patch in the center of my head that I feel is a different texture than the rest of my head.
It could be. It could be because of the pattern. It
Okay.
could be a swirl that might be going against the grain of the rest of the hair pattern. So if your follicles are all facing right and you do have this one patch facing left, it's called a swirl. You know what I mean? Or a whirl, a cowlick. Cowlicks don't have to be in the front part of the head. They can be anywhere. They can be anywhere on the head. But the thing is, the pH of your products matter. But everybody was born with normal pH hair. The pH has always been
Hmm.
normal until we started adding and putting things on our hair, which caused it to change. You
Hmm.
listen to older folks and they say, well, you don't want to relax your daughter's hair before she, starts to menstruate. You know what I mean? And you wonder why
Hmm.
they say stuff like that. It's because it was trial and error. You know what I mean? Somebody was doing it
Mm-hmm.
before the menstrual, cycle started, and the hair probably fell out or whatever the case may be, or was just never the same. So then they figure, okay, well, let's just wait until after her menstrual. Because now the body goes through a whole nother change of hormones, puberty kicks in, certain things happen to the body. Now, you got a whole nother set of hair because the hair does change. It does change, but the
Mm-hmm.
pH doesn't unless you change it.
Hmm.
The pH stays the same unless you change it.
Hmm.
So, same thing with our curl patterns and stuff. You are born with your curl pattern unless you change it. Our hair is born, we're born naturally curly, for our certain ethnic group, unless you
Mm-hmm.
change it, and that's just how
Mm.
it is.
I'm learning so much right now. So going back to our diet, what are some of the if someone right now is thinking about, because I have friends in my life and colleagues in my life who are all say to me, oh man, I at least I want to maybe try going meatless for one day, like do meatless Monday. What are some essential foods either that you like, one, or two, that would give someone the kind of nutrients that they need to get them through the day? Because when I was transitioning, while I actually felt a lot better when I didn't eat meat, I also made sure to have a variety of things. So I would, quinoa, a leafy green, mushrooms, because I actually really like mushrooms, like different types of things. But in your opinion as a professional, what are some of the key foods that people should really think about increasing or adding to their diet if they're just if they want to be plant-based?
So, yeah, doing a meatless Monday, some of the things you just mentioned are absolutely key. Making sure that you're getting in your dark green leafy vegetables, mushrooms. You can do your quinoa. You can have buckwheat pancakes in the morning. You can have a hemp seed salad in the afternoon, and a chia seed and spirulina salad for dinner. That will cover all bases, and you get your 9 essential amino acids in each one of those meals, so you're not deficient. With the buckwheat, it's going to hold you from breakfast to lunch, probably sometimes longer, because buckwheat is heavy, it's very filling. Same thing with quinoa. You can chop up some green apple, add some cranberry in there, and make some homemade caramel sauce. You can make the water with some raw sugar in there, and get a plant-based butter and put that in the pan and make your caramel. Drizzle that over, you're good to go. Same thing for dinner. Make your own vinaigrettes, um, your tomatoes, put all of that stuff together, and you don't have to make it in like small, regular sized portions. Make a big salad. Trust me, it's going to hold you, it's going to clean out your digestive tract, and it will hold you until the next morning. And you just repeat the process. But a meatless Monday, that would be my meatless Monday.
And do you recommend, like, so a lot of people when they wake up, and I'm definitely guilty of this, is the first thing I usually have to drink, unfortunately, is coffee. Do you? I'm sure that's terrible. I know it is, in fact. So, what are there any smoothies that you would recommend, or even if people maybe don't have time for that, if they just have time for water, do you recommend adding any particular things into the water that they can like help to flush themselves out or anything like that?
Water and lemon is always very good in the morning. It balances you out. So you can always have water and lemon or water and lime. Um, your second drink, you can have coffee. The thing is, coffee is a bean that came from Africa, from Ethiopia, where coffee got its started. Got its start. That bean originally came from the continent of Africa and then spread there. Coffee was used to barter the bean, used to barter for certain things. But it's the type of coffee you're consuming. So if you're consuming coffee that had the acid rinse and has been through all these different
Mm-hmm.
processes to make it taste like vanilla chai, or to make it taste like donut coffee, or whatever the
Pumpkin
case may be,
spice.
those are all chemically changed coffees. So you want to go for organic coffee, something that has not been processed. Bring your whole bean home and grind it yourself. That's where you get your rich,
Mm-hmm.
flavored coffees from. You can add in a little agave, or like I said, even from the caramel sauce that you made, meatless Monday morning. Add a little teaspoon of caramel into that, but it's all vegan. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to continue to
Mm-hmm.
consume certain products that, like coffee or mass made coffee, and giving you, stomach upset, indigestion, acid reflux.
The poops. And I think we've been hitting on a lot of different subject or different types of foods and recommendations. And the one thing that I've heard the most from people is that doing these new things, trying these new foods or having organic foods, people correlate that to whiteness for one, and then definitely bring into question the cost. You know, if someone is on a budget, a tight budget, and they may not have, the income level necessary to buy these different kinds of things, what would be some fast and furious things that you would recommend people eat? Like, are there things in, or even stores that you shop at more frequently that gives you these things where it doesn't feel like it's going to break your bank? Like, right off top, if you don't have the money, and it is no shade, like, stay out of Whole Foods. Like, that's definitely a place that's on the higher end of things. But like, in your perspective, what kind of recommendations do you have?
I would suggest probably a co-op, or you do have some new markets now that are coming up in certain communities that are co-ops that you can go into. Depending on where you live, you have certain food banks now that receive a certain amount of produce, probably weekly, because they know in certain areas produce is not something that people can always get to, or it's not always affordable. But anytime you're going to eat healthy, it's always going to cost you a little bit more than it is to eat unhealthy. The waste product is cheap, they want to get rid of it, but the healthier stuff is always going to cost a little bit more because you're getting rid of the middleman. The healthier you eat, the less doctor visits, the less drugs you're taking. So there's a surcharge to that.
And another to add on to that is, like, there's subsidies associated with cheaper foods that you don't have to pay for necessarily up front and out of your wallet, but like you said, you are going to end up paying for them in the long run by having to go to the doctor more frequently due to adverse health effects. So I think we've come to the end of the show. How can people find you? Are there any projects that you're working on right now that you want to call out? Let us know, please. Where can we get these products?
We are on Instagram. DNH Organic Hair Care is our name, and we also have a few new products that are coming out. We have a new product debuting on 4/20/20 this year, so that's a hint. But we have a beauty supply, Homes Wholesale, which is our distributor. So anybody looking for any products as far as salon products, barber products, clippers, chairs, we have all of that at Homes Wholesale. And you can also order DNH Organic Hair Care at homeswholesale.com. If you can't get to the website and you need to, find us on Instagram, we'll make sure that, we touch bases with you and lead you into the right direction to make sure that you can get the product. And the product is wonderful. It's worked miracles. A lot of people are giving us, a lot of positive feedback about using a botanically based organic hair care line, and trust me, it's definitely beneficial.
That's amazing. And thank you so much for bringing not just your expertise with your hair care line, but also your expertise with diet and health. You are a nurse, and nurses are the backbone of the healthcare system, in my opinion. And I have nurses in my family, nurses in my life as my friends, and I applaud you and appreciate the work that you're doing, because we need you. We need more people who look like us to give us. No, you are so welcome. Like, we need you all, especially people of color and black nurses and black doctors, to impart this knowledge because we may not take it otherwise. I mean, hell, we don't take it now, but we may be a little more
You're
likely
right.
to do it from someone who looks
Exactly.
like us. Yeah.
Exactly.
We
But
so
anybody,
stubborn. We just stubborn.
any questions, I'm always, open for questions. If it's, like I said, questions about hair, skin, nails, diet, whatever the case may be, it's all tied in together. So we truly are what we eat. So I'm always open for questions. You could DM me, you can text me, email me. I will definitely get back to you with an answer and try to steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, you shouldn't have told me that because I'm definitely going to send you some pictures of my scalp. So yeah, you just get ready for that gift.
Okay, look, I'll be ready.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
That concludes another episode of The Crossroads. Thank you all again for joining me. Don't forget to check out my blog focusing on plastic waste, but also definitely reducing other forms of waste too. And interact with me on social media using the hashtag WasteNot2020. If you don't already, please feel free to follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram as Crossroads Podcast, Twitter and Facebook as Crossroads Pod C1. Super weird. And my podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, you name it. I have a link to all platforms in my bio on Instagram and all social media. Thank you all again, and we'll talk soon.